Hello adventurers and welcome back to my channel. Today is moving day. In other words, I'm moving from this campsite to another campsite, which is also still in this little row. But if you haven't figured out by now, my channel is on a little bit of a delay. And so I always share things with you that are going on in my life, and this is gonna appear super out of place in the timeline of real life events. But today, moving day, happens to be falling on Eclipse Day. Now, not all of my videos are this far out, but I intentionally put this one a little further out just to kind of let you guys know what my life looks like on Eclipse Day. A lot of people went to Texas and I had already left, so I wasn't wanting to go back just to catch the eclipse. And in Arkansas, they were having a eclipse totality party near Hot Springs, but it just seemed like a lot of chaos. And I went to the 2017 eclipse and saw that, and I was pretty impressed, but at the same time, the crowds just were a lot, and I didn't really like that people really jacked up the prices and stuff like that. So I decided instead to be in an area where I could sit still. That way I'm not in the middle of the chaos. So today is moving day. Since I'm just moving in park, I put my camera down, but otherwise I think everything else can kind of stay in place because I'm only going a little distance. So you might be thinking, Bunny, why is this video so late? Well, as you guys know, I'm now traveling solo dolo, and because of that, I like to keep a bit more of a buffer to keep everybody guessing where I'm at, because I've had some unsavory humans who have come up and said some things online that made me a little nervous. So I decided on this particular endeavor, I was going to give myself a little bit more spacing in between my videos, and some of these are filmed more recently, some of them are filmed not as recent. So I'm keeping you guessing. This does have to go in the back. I need to figure out what to do with this. This is a bunch of my groceries and stuff, but also it has like an extra pair of shoes. My laundry thing is in here. So all of this needs to technically have something happen in the next few days. So into the back it'll go. And just like that, problem solved. Now I just went and took a shower because I definitely wanted to get a shower before all the chaos and stuff unfolds, just in case something weird does happen in the world. If you're seeing this, more than likely it did not and everything's fine. But you know, all the people are, oh no, freak out. And so I just thought, well, I'll do what I normally do when I'm preparing for like a storm or something. I always take a shower beforehand just in case I don't have access to water after. So that's done. I've also done the laundry. And now it's time for us to move. Kind of. I still have to take down my front window cover. Now, a lot of people have been just really curious as to how far my videos are off. And that's why I like to keep it all shaken up, so you guys never know. But the reason why this again is because of safety. And if you are traveling as a solo traveler and you're doing a YouTube channel, please do not post in real time. It is very, very dangerous. I don't know how many times that I've seen somebody and it's just been like, oh, you're telling too much. Like, you're there in this moment. And they'll even admit, today I'm here, and not, hey, today I'm here, and then there's an understanding that it's on a delay. I've seen several creators in the past year get doxxed. I've seen several creators have people roll up to their campsites because they shared in real time, and I'm not trying to do that. It's nothing personal to the wonderful people who are out there. But unfortunately for the people who are out there who are unsavory characters, who don't want to be nice to others and who want to say nasty things, this is the only way it is truly safer for us to do that. And I love sharing all the things that I do and all the brain wrinkles and all the cool places. Unfortunately, I can't do that in real time. And it's never going to be a real-time scenario for me. So what I've been doing over the travels with both Riley and then also now by myself is just getting all of these cool places and sharing them with you, but with a bit of a delay so that it does give me that safety so that I can be away from the areas that I'm showing when I'm showing them. And that way I don't have somebody walk up to my campsite feeling a little bold and do something a little crazy. You know, one of the things that I discussed with myself whenever I started my channel was that I wanted to make sure I was safe always. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that after we move. So for now, let me get some air going. There we go. And these need to come down. Ooh, sound from the radio. Okay. So now guys, are you ready for this really long commute? We've got a really long one today. We are going from 209, which has been really good to me, but is a little bit short for me and my dad to fit in. And we are going way over here to 214, which is just beyond that SUV up there. Okay, here it is, new home for the next few days. And there's enough room for Dad's van to fit right here, nice and flat, so he doesn't have to be on a little incline. Couple things to note. Whenever you're booking a campsite, if you're going to be camping with another person, try to read the descriptions of the sites, because not all sites, even though they might be able to fit 2 people, would be comfortable for 2 people to sleep in. Now, I'm fortunate that I am small and I can sleep on either end of my bed, but some people can't. Some people have to sleep in a certain way, and if there is an incline, that can make it very uncomfortable. But that's neither here nor there. Let me show you the campsite real quick, and then we'll talk a little bit more about safety. You know, in 7 years of travel, one of the things that I have learned is that if you are careful with where you go and careful with what you share, that you can have a pretty amazing time in the outdoors. In fact, I've only encountered 2 people along my travels organically that have been just weird. And in doing so, I left both of those places because it was just obviously strange. One of them, I joke and say that they wanted to make me into a skin suit. And I don't know that that's off in the description at all. It was whenever I was hiking in the PNW and someone approached me on a trail and started talking, but in really kind of an unsettling way. And I instantly realized this was not normal conversation and started to try to find an exit strategy from this. Unfortunately, because I was on the trail, I had to go back to the trailhead, and they went with me. And in doing so, I kept a safe distance. I constantly kept something in between my fingers just in case I needed a weapon. And I found some other people along the trail and basically indicated to them, help me. And so they sat and talked for a bit, and finally the person kind of peeled off. And when they did so, I was still kind of nervous because my car was there, and I didn't want them to see me getting into my car because I didn't want them to know what I was in, because they knew I was there by myself. So instead, I talked to the couple of people that were there, and I kind of was like, hey, this person's a creeper, help me get out of here safely. And they did, and it was really nice, and it was a true show of compassion by those people, that's for sure. But I don't know what that person's intentions were, but I noticed that by the comments that they were making, that they were not bueno, not good, not safe, and so I knew that there was an issue. The same thing with the other person I encountered. I was at a state park in Tennessee, and it was toward the end of the season, and this person was just kind of hanging out by the showers in their vehicle, no big deal, happens all the time. But then they came and kind of surveyed my space and pulled over and started talking to me, and I could see them looking around me into my car as though they were trying to see if there was anything in there of value that they could take. And instantly, this triggered all sorts of red flags, and again, I got up out of there. And some other things happened with that one that were a little bit weird, but moral of the story, if you ever feel uncomfortable, just get up out of there. The problem is when you're traveling by yourself and you're doing YouTube, if you're posting in more real time, more people have access to your information and where you might be. And then it's not just the random one-offs where I've only encountered 2. It's more people. And again, most people don't want to come and be weird. They just want to come up and say, hi, I watch your channel, or hey, I'd love to hang out, or something like that. And that is fine. However, for the ones who aren't well-meaning, it can be really scary. So let's talk about it a little bit more though. Last year, I received a pretty interesting threat. It's the best way to put it. Interesting. And by interesting, I don't mean, oh, this is just a little thing that I shouldn't take seriously. I should have taken it very seriously, and I did, and I acted accordingly. Now, I've talked about it a little bit here on the channel, but let me first put into context what I am used to, and what as a YouTuber I am used to, which should never be something that we are used to. I am used to going to historic places, talking about history, and ruffling some feathers. I am used to that. I am used to some people who have their feathers ruffled getting a bit angry and saying some really vile things. Again, not something we should be used to, but something that happens pretty frequently when I go to any historic place. Any historic place. Not just 1 or 2. most of them. And so because of that, I have set up comment filters, I have things like that to kind of keep some of that out of view of you guys, because it just is really gross behavior. It just is. And I am a very accepting, loving person who just wants to seek out brain wrinkles, and there is no place in the world of brain wrinkles and kindness for some of those comments. However, I'm also used to a different kind of comment, the well-meaning comment. And I'm not saying don't give me advice or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is some people, whenever they give advice and it's not something that you are able to use or capable of using or applies to the situation, they then get very angry and then they threaten you, which, okay, that's a tactic. Not a tactic that's ever going to work for me personally, but a tactic just the same. So I've had those kind, and again, I'm used to those. But what happened last year was not those. It was not either one of those. In fact, it was something much worse. It was something that was supposedly somebody in our very community, a van person, who got very upset about something that I said in regards to one of those things. But instead of just popping off and having some ruffled feathers, they decided to take another step and threatened my actual existence. Not cool, just so you know. Never gonna bode well on the internet to threaten someone. So I took the necessary precautions that I needed to do so by blocking them, muting their comments on my channel at all, turning them into YouTube, and all of those things netted their account being taken down. I also made a report about this with YouTube so that they would know that this was considered not just bullying and harassment, but a threat. And after that, I got a couple of emails back from YouTube and everything seemed to fix itself. However, with that said, me fixing it on my end here on YouTube is only part of the story, because unfortunately, unless something got brought up with the authorities and they pursued this, because I can't do anything about that part, they have to do what they're doing. The person is still just out there just doing whatever. And I know for a fact that they had mentioned that they were going to be in Arizona. Specifically, they were going to be in Quartzsite. And in doing that kind of mental math, I was like, okay, I'm just not going to go to the desert this year. And so that's the main reason why I took a pivot moment for safety. And so I wanted to set all of that into context so you could better understand the entirety of the issue. It's not just one thing, it's not just two things, it's a variety of things that kind of add up. And when you are a solo female traveler, you have to be careful. So, as you can imagine, if you have to modify what you're doing, how you're doing it, and be a little bit more cautious, then you're not just going to go to posting in real time after having to be cautious. You're just not. So even though you might think that you're away from the problem, you want to make sure you stay away from the problem. And so that is why I have a delay in my videos. Wow. Feels a lot better to get all of that off my chest. Because even though, again, I've talked about little pieces of this, sometimes just letting you guys know what is actually happening so that you'll feel a little more understanding of the situation is good. I enjoy sharing all the things that I do with my van journey and then also with my travels and adventures, and I hope that it truly does encourage you guys to get out there. But along the way, we gotta be safe. So I think what I'm gonna do is I am going to start putting together a video about solo female travel and being safe while you're doing it, and how you can do that without disclosing any kind of weapons or anything like that. Because let's face it, everybody wants to talk about how they're using different things as a weapon. But in all reality, a lot of the things that you need to do as a solo traveler have nothing to do with what you carry in your van in way of weaponry. It just doesn't. It's common sense decisions and things that you can do for yourself to safeguard yourself, to make yourself feel a little bit more comfortable, and also knowing like where your exit strategy will always be. So I'm going to be working on that, and I'll share that with you guys very soon. I think it could be helpful to all of you, and it also is going to encompass a few of the things that I personally have learned over the past few years. But with that said, I'm just waiting on this eclipse to happen. I don't know what it's going to look like here. I'm not in the path of totality. I'm not in a place where it's going to be like, whoa, crazy, crazy. But I am hoping I can see just a little bit of it. And I went to the one in 2017, so I'm not super upset about not seeing this one in totality, because can I just tell you guys the chaos that ensued in 2017? That was very early on in my channel, so that video just does not do it justice at all, but it was like going through an apocalyptic time. I was driving to Sedalia, Missouri. That's where it all started. Driving down the road. I was in my car and I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be cool. And then I just start seeing cars abandoned on the sides of roads. It was weird. And I was like, why are all these people not in their cars? This is strange. And it's getting slightly darker because it had kind of started a little bit, but not fully. And then I just see people going into people's fields randomly. Don't do that, by the way. That is trespassing. That could be bad. But yeah, just going to people's fields so that they could look up at the sky. Some of them had glasses, some of them didn't. I do not recommend looking at the sun without glasses. I have bad eyes. I will never look at the sun, even probably with the glasses, because now I have learned it's really bad for my eyes, even with the protective glasses. But long story short, it was chaos. It was so chaotic. And I drove like 2.5 hours toward the chaos, and just the entire time was like, what is going on? So I can only imagine the path of totality is somewhat like that, and no thank you. No ma'am Pam, we don't want that. So instead, I'm just gonna be here at my new campsite because today was moving day and my dad should be here by this evening. So I'm just gonna chill. I wanted to share this with you guys. I hope that you kind of understand a little bit more now as to why I don't post in real time. I hope that's helpful. And if you are thinking about doing YouTube or traveling as a solo traveler at all, male or female, please don't post in real time. Please don't do it. Don't get doxxed. Don't have people wander up to your campsite. Don't have people threatening you. Don't have people knowing where you are, because, you know, if you're showing off all your super nice things, just as much as somebody could just come up and say hello, somebody also could come up and say, ooh, I want that, and take it from you. So be very safe out there, guys. I'll show you a few pictures or a few images from the eclipse as we close out this video. But remember, guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. Safety video's on its way. I'll see you later. Bye. Okay, it's harder to see, but it is starting. It's getting a little bit darker outside. Getting darker, as you can see. Okay, so this is what it's looking like so far. I'm not seeing any of the little half moons on the ground yet. And darker it gets even still. It's almost like an eerie darkness now. It's almost weirder to look on at this angle because it's showing the colors even more vibrantly, like the yellows, because the sun is starting to diminish a little bit. The ground still looks normal as of right now, but it'll show little tiny circles, and you can see it's just looking kind of like a dingy tone right now to the sky because the sun is starting to hide. Like a little harder to tell when I film, but it looks like late afternoon over here, and it's getting darker by the minute. You can see how much darker the table is right now, and it's just gonna keep getting darker. So apparently this goes in phases, and as it goes through, you'll notice certain things happen, like, for example, the temperature drops. Okay, do you see the little moons forming, the little shapes? They're starting to form. A little easier to see from this side. You can see it's clearly like a little U. So that is the start of the eclipse right there, and that's what you can see if you don't have the glasses to be able to still see what's going on, which is pretty cool. Meanwhile, it is definitely getting darker still. There they are. They're intensifying even more. There's getting to be more and more of them now. But it definitely is a weird look out here. Just super, super weird.